Before I start this video, I know some people might be wondering what the point of making a video like this is, especially so late. And to be honest, it is definitely quite late, and ultimately I'm making content for content's sake. Also, the people I'm talking about have released a lot of content recently, and that's kind of caused me to reevaluate somewhat. Although I actually do still enjoy recording, it's kind of had to take a backseat as gaming's become a smaller part of my life. I'm in my second year of college right now, and for those that don't know, I'm on a 4 years master degrees course, and in order for me to progress to that stage, I need to get a certain grade average over my first and second year. So obviously, I do need to prioritize my academics. Also, and to a slightly lesser degree, I see a lot of people on my Discord and stuff playing video games more or less for the entire day. You know, maybe with a 1 hour break in between sessions. And the more I see that, the more I kind of fear about addiction and stuff, especially after seeing that weird crap that's being posted on Twitter and TikTok. Don't be mistaken, I still enjoy playing video games, and I think it's a great way to relax, but I'm just prone to getting bored much faster than I used to. That's not due to the games that I'm playing. I've downloaded some new games. I'm thinking of streaming Star Wars Battlefront 2. I know it's an old game, but I've never done the campaign mode or the story mode on that, so I think that would be quite nice to do live. I'm also thinking about doing retro Mario games, but we'll see. I used to be very good at Mario games back in the day. But yeah, I think at some point you just start to question where your priorities are, and maybe I've reached that point, who knows. Probably part of the growing up process. Anyway, despite what people say about the MC community in 2021, and yes, there was a lot of weirdos, I'm probably going to mention some of them at some point, but, you know who they are. But there's also a lot of nice people, and I'm really lucky to have met them and become friends. Sure, I've lost friends and grown apart from others, and that can get to me it can get to anyone, but overall, it's just about moving forward, appreciating those who appreciate you, and that can be difficult when, you're comparing what you have and what you don't have. Sometimes it's difficult to appreciate the things that you do have, but it's important to try. I'm grateful to those people who do talk to me often, and, they've helped me a lot, and it's just nice to have that company. But with that extreme New Year's message out of the way, let's continue on with the video. So yeah, the thing that's been making rounds on Hypixel Twitter is that the rising Hypixel news channel, Name Brand, has received a lot of backlash for the following tweet. Okay, sorry, as I'm editing this video, I realize that the tweet has been deleted. I'm sure it can be found online still, but to summarize, he was basically saying that he no longer supported Intel, and that's Intel the company, not Intel Edits, since they recently said that all their employees must be vaccinated. A lot of people predictably took offense to Name Brand's stance on this, and I would like to say that I completely support this decision by Intel. It would be the decision that I would take if I was the CEO of Intel. And although the vaccine is a choice, it's also well within Intel's rights to require their employees to be vaccinated just for the safety of the company. I should point out that Name Brand has every right to not be happy about this and to share his opinion. People are allowed to have their opinions, don't change that, although I guess there's a fine line between racism and opinions, but we shall leave that for another time. Whilst I definitely don't agree with him, and I'm more than willing to challenge him every time he brings it up, he is allowed to have an opinion. I'm not a vaccinologist, and I don't have any input or inside knowledge of how vaccines are made, but as a physics student, I would like to think that I'm vaguely familiar on the scientific method, I wouldn't be a very good one otherwise, and how clinical trials are run. So I've left some links in the description if you'd like to learn more. I read them a few days ago, and I actually learned quite a bit more than I thought I would, because I thought I knew quite a bit about vaccines, but apparently not. A lot of people were also quite taken aback by what seems to be a major shift in Name Brand's personality. Prior to the incident, most people saw him as a more reputable, and to put it bluntly, less of a creep version of Lego Maestro. I was never really a follower of the idea of Hypixel News, and I will explain why later. But to summarize, he was more or less liked by everyone, and that's referring to Name Brand, by the way. I don't think people particularly even disliked him, even if they thought his videos were cringe, and to an extent I did. He did also make a critical video on Hypixel SS, the sniper group who use vape, and not too longer after, one of Hypixel SS's more extreme fans, and to my understanding following an interview hosted by Laser Penguin, doxed Name Brand. It wasn't too long after that when Namebrand started making videos rather similar to Hypixel SS, i.e. promoting vape client, sniping people, etc. He made a video sniping a 6-striker. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I just thought the concept was quite funny. Not that I support it or anything. Now I should point out, I don't think Hypixel SS hacked Namebrand or held him ransom as some people have ridiculously suggested. I think Namebrand decided he was done with this type of content, and it also seemed like he couldn't handle the criticism coming his way. I understand that it can be quite triggering to have a lot of people say some hurtful stuff, and I saw some unbelievably horrible stuff that shouldn't be said. Even if I don't agree with what Namebrand was saying, like, there is a fine line that you shouldn't cross. With that being said, I don't think he handled it well, and I'm sure he would acknowledge that. Clearly, I do care enough about this to dedicate part of a video on it, but, you know, his and Hypixel SS's content, it's not really my cup of tea. I don't think it's funny, and I think it's more cringe or childish humor, but, you know, he's free to make whatever type of video he wants, as long as it's within YouTube's guidelines and all of that stuff. So Namebrand was essentially trying to provide an alternative to the original Hypixel news source, Lego Maestro, and I feel a little bit weird saying original Hypixel news source. But anyway, Lego made a very compelling apology video quite recently actually, albeit that was after many allegations being lodged against him. So I don't want to bring up too many old things because he has addressed them. But to summarize, he's had a history of saying inappropriate things to females, including more well-known YouTubers. There were also allegations of payment issues with regards to editing work being done by freelancers. And if you want a more in-depth explanation, I would just recommend you watch the numerous exposed videos out there. I mean, if you type Lego Maestro, they're probably the most popular videos actually. But also watch his apology because he does address, I think, almost all of the allegations. And overall, whilst I'm still not a fan of Lego's content, and I'm not really a big fan of him either, I do respect his apology. I thought it was very direct and it addressed all the allegations, like I say. And with that, I'm just going to take him for his word right now, because that's really all we can do. It seems more recently that someone else has been trying to take hold of the Hypixel news title, and that person seems to be a YouTuber called 6-striker. I haven't watched many of his videos, to be honest, though he did make a video on Namebrand, and following that, there seems to be something going on between the two. Whether it's just jokes, or as people say, whether it's just for memes, or if there's genuine heat behind it, I don't know, and I don't really care enough about it to do anything more than just mention it here. Some of you might ask, why are you wasting your time on this whole thing? Isn't it just childish? And yeah, sure it is. But man needs to be entertained somehow. So now I'll explain why I think Hypixel News overall is a dumb idea. Well, I should clarify that I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea. Plenty of other games have accounts dedicated to sharing information. When Hypixel News starts off reporting events like YouTuber X gets 250k subs, or Bed Wars has a new update, etc, etc, there's nothing really, you know, fundamentally wrong with that. Although I would argue that most people get that information either via the forums, quite often faster than the Hypixel News YouTuber themselves, or just via YouTube, like, you know, post notifications and stuff like that. I'm a fan of GamerBoy80, for example, so I will know when he hits 1 million subscribers since I do keep up with his channel. And please 80 upload, I'm begging you. I don't need a Hypixel News YouTuber to tell me that. The only other option is to just report drama, and yes, it does get views, which is probably why most people do it. And, you know, it's kind of similar in style to, like, Strobed, I guess, who, well, we know what happened to him. But I think all it does really is spiral the drama out of control, or get it into the hands of people who really don't know how to handle it in the first place. And ultimately, it is a type of content that needs drama to be there in the first place, because without it, they don't really have much to talk about it. By they, I mean the Hypixel News YouTubers. So it makes you wonder, is it in the interest of Hypixel News YouTubers to stir up drama just for the sake of content? Now you might be wondering, Probsid, will you become the next Hypixel News YouTuber? And you know what? If it gets the views,